We're all champions in the ring, including all the hottest guys on American Adversaries. Love ya.
All right, we got the hottest guy of all in the studio with us tonight, folks. That'd be Colonel Danny McKnight. I am Christopher Hart. 407-774-8255 is the number. And by the way, you can see us on YouTube. Dial in Adversaries TV. Type in Pariscope, and there we will be, because Lucas Pariscope head up and running tonight.
Heart's up already.
All right, he's got 3 segments of the show up already. The show as fast as it's going by. A couple of things here real quick. I got this one from Nostradamus. He says, if Obama is that make Putin pokey? I guess maybe it would. And then he said please do not insult the professional clown community by calling Obama bozo. All right, I'll just refer to him as buffoon, or pencil neck geek, as Mike McBath likes to call him. And then I got this. This is a question for Colonel McKnight from Carl Jackson. He says, Colonel, do you agree with Colonel Ralph Peters' assessment that Putin not only wants to embarrass the United States, but he wants to take as much control in the Middle East before our next president? Colonel Peters also said he expects lots more violence from Putin leading up to 2017 elections. That's the Russian elections. Once a new president gets in, it won't be much that they can do against Putin if he's already in charge of so much Middle East territory.
I think that that's probably very accurate in terms of, I think he is trying to take over more of the Mideast. By doing what we did with Iran, I think we opened that up to him to do that. I really do. And so probably a very, very correct statement that Putin is probably looking to expand his power over there in the Mideast, and I think it's going to be a big problem.
And if that's the case, we should probably expect him to get pretty aggressive pretty quickly.
I think he will, because, we say 15, 16 months, how much it is, left. Right. That's not very long. If you're going to try to take over, he's going to have to start doing it pretty soon, if he is. And he's aggressive enough to go after, there's no doubt about it. And after, the election, he might be very untouchable. Correct.
And unfortunately, you were on the Arms Room radio show a couple of weeks ago, and I heard the interview, and the fellows asked some good questions. One of the questions they asked you was, what was the state of our military readiness today? And your assessment, to be honest with you, wasn't all that great.
No, I mean, how can it be considered great? It once was what it was, and we had 590,000, in the Army. We started bringing the Army down, which I understood that. I didn't have a problem with that, because we got to a real high number, because we were fighting 2 wars at one time.
Right.
Okay? So when we make that adjustment, I'm okay with it. But when we're going down, headed down to an all-time low since World War II, I'm not comfortable with that. Because the last time I checked, the world is a more dangerous place today than it has ever been. Why are we willing to do that? We're willing to do that because I believe the Commander-in-Chief truly planned to bring our military down to a weak point. And I believe we're headed that way. Yes, I believe we're weaker than we have ever been. I really do. And we've lost a lot of good people that have basically decided, I can't do this anymore. They retire. We had many that have been put out that didn't want to be put out.
Right.
Well, we just don't need you anymore. You've served 15 years. Good luck.
Right.
And it's happened, and I know that's happened. So, it's at a weak point.
Yeah, I believe that what the president has planned all along was that he would make it as difficult as possible for the next president, assuming that president was a Republican or even a more hawkish Democrat, to make it as difficult as possible for them to do anything militarily.
Without a doubt. We are so far away from where we were when we were the greatest on earth with our military. We've taken that away. We've taken it away.
At what point would you say that was?
What point would I say that was?
Was it the first Persian Gulf War?
Yeah, after we finished over there, everything was top notch. And then when we go do Iraq and go in there and do what we did to Saddam Hussein in Afghanistan, we were pretty powerful fighting both of those at one time, in all honesty.
Right.
And of course we got rid of one, and then we focused on the other. And I can say that because I fortunately had the opportunity to go to both places. And by seeing it and everything, especially in Afghanistan with 2 trips over there, we had people that were fighting and wanted to fight for us to make America what it used to be. Even though you're in Afghanistan, you're standing up for America when you're over there.
Right.
People don't get that. They seem to think, no, it's all about just helping Afghanistan, getting rid of the Taliban. That's only a piece of it. It's also showing people that the United States of America is still the greatest fighting force. We are not that today, in my opinion, like we were. We may be better than everybody else, but I'll tell you what, it's getting really close. And I don't like us not to be the most powerful.
It's very dangerous.
It's critically dangerous, yes. And that's where we're headed.
Yeah, not just for us, but also for our allies like Israel, and indeed for the rest of the world. Because if the United States is not the leader that we need to be, then we will end up being led by those who have much worse intentions.
And it's not just over in the Mideast and Russia. There's those other places across the other ocean,
right,
across the Pacific.
Right.
And I think you're going to talk about something associated with that here this evening about,
the Chinese.
That's right.
Yeah, they're not,
we've got to remember there's one very sick man over there in North Korea. We don't know what he's going to do any day he wakes up. Can he destroy us? No. Can he cause us problems? Big time.
Right.
What are we going to do if he attacks South Korea? I don't believe our president has a clue how he would react to that.
I don't believe he would have a clue what to do if they were to attack us.
Yeah. I mean,
if someone were to use a nuclear weapon against us right now, I guarantee you he would not retaliate likewise.
No,
I guarantee you.
I agree with you 100% on that. And see, if that happens over North Korea, South Korea, though, that is us.
Right.
We have a lot of American soldiers over there.
Right.
That becomes us.
Right.
And what are we going to do about it?
Right.
Yeah. I'm like you. I don't think we would react. We will try and talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Figure out a diplomatic solution. And what did you think about it when the president constantly says there could be no military outcome in the Middle East?
What kind of outcome does he think there can be? There has to be a military outcome. That's that part of the world. That's what it boils down to every time. You're not going to have them go out and cross the border and shake hands with each other, and say, okay, we'll be okay, right? You like me, I like you. That ain't going to happen. The military solution is what does happen over there. There's no doubt about it. We've seen it happen too many times. You can look at Syria, you can look at Iraq, you can look at Iran, all of those, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Libya, all of that. It's a military solution every time.
In fact, it's when we're timid about the military solution that we get into trouble.
Yeah.
Somalia?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We were timid about the use of military. Bill Clinton was timid in sending you folks in that mission down there. And so you were ill-prepared, you were ill-equipped, and yet you still got the job done. And even after the Black Hawk incident, you guys were ready to carry the fight. You were successful at that. As bad as it was that day, your mission was successful, and you were ready to take the fight to them even more. But they were too timid.
And to show how timid it was and the lives it cost, when they took that AC-130 gunship out of our task force 30 hours before we were going to go, they caused people to die. My 6 kids that died, and this past Saturday was 22 years ago. Believe it or not.
Yep.
And when I talked to Sergeant Keela's mom and dad, like I always do every year, haven't missed the one time when I was in Afghanistan, I still have trouble trying to explain that not only to them, to myself, that why their son died when it shouldn't have happened. But we were not doing the military thing. We were letting people that had no knowledge of what to do.
And then we repeated that very same mistake in Benghazi.
Yes, we did.